Welcome back to the Burly Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Burlingame, here with my co-host, Paul Glass, and we are doing an impromptu episode with no show notes, which means I'm in freaking heaven. This is going to be amazing. We actually just got done recording a previous podcast that you may have listened to.
I'm broaching exhausted.
Yeah. If you have not listened to our last episode, which was episode 27, featuring the fantastic, I can't say enough good things about her, Christine Fisher, aka Midwest Fisher Gal, if you follow her on Instagram. I am referencing this right away in the episode because I'm still reeling from it because I just hung up from a call with her and it was fantastic, you guys. So if you are listening to this episode and you haven't listened to that one, pause this episode, make sure you download it to your phone. It's very important you do that. Go back to that episode, download that one to your phone, and then listen to that one. And then give us a 5-star review because you love that episode, because it was a heckin' good time. And she's a fantastic person.
Just a neat human being.
Just a super neat person, but so neat. So today, though, guys, today on this episode that we are doing impromptu after having already recorded an episode, very important note because we might get real tired towards the end of the episode here. We are going to be talking about what is in your boat. Yeah. What is in your boat? And
what's in the boat?
What's in the boat? But keep in mind, we are kayak fishermen. We're going to be talking about, specifically for our purposes, kayak fishing, right? What's in your kayak? But based on what's in my kayak, which is basically a one-person bass boat, you could just put that stuff in a bass boat. So maybe there's some relatability, definitely in the John boat area, definitely there. Maybe up towards a bass boat, and then you have maybe 38 more rods than me. But we just both talked to Christine Fisher, and she sometimes carries 16, and she has the same exact boat. We're talking about our boats is the Hobie Pro Angler 14-foot edition 360 drive. She has the same exact boat. She has 16 rods in that thing. So guys, you can get it heckin' done with these boats. Let me just tell you that.
I know how.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, if you like the episode, be sure to subscribe, drop us a 5-star review, maybe a comment, tell us what you want us to talk about, maybe what we can do to improve the show. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm done dropping shameless plugs. Moving on to the episode, let's do it. Paul's lip syncing right now. He has been doing this to me on our videos. If you guys have noticed, if you hate that, tell him to cut it out. You can follow him at Paul_J_Glass and say, Paul, cut it out. If you love it, follow him and cheer him on.
There it is. If you want it to be incessant and constant and just pervasive,
if you want it to be worse, up. Every time we're on the water, like he does that when we're filming, or he starts casting at me when we're on the water. This last trip, I just cast back. I'm gonna clap back. Go ahead.
All right, so we'd like to kick things off with a week in review. We totally skipped Jeff is an idiot. Oh! Yeah, lip syncing.
You are an idiot.
so
I'm an idiot. Yes.
Darn it. So we did not do a week in review, but we did a lot of stuff last week. Like the week before. Well, when you're hearing this, the week before last.
It doesn't matter.
We did what we have not had time to do in a long.
Oh my gosh,
it's been a time. Which is, I mean, what's the reason all this exists? What's the bread and butter of like the Burly fishing experience?
Well, this experience was birthed on one of these trips. Basically, in previous years, life prior to a certain virus that exists now, Paul and I used to go on a lot more trips like this, but this is actually our first one of the no, not of the year. This was the second longer trip, right? Because the first episode of this podcast was recorded in a hotel room on one of those trips. That was a longer trip, but that was March?
Late
February?
Yeah.
It's like the last weekend, maybe in February. It's been a minute. So
we do a handful of camping trips a year.
Yeah, we used to do a lot more. I would love to at least do them quarterly, if not more than that. But yeah, this was an opportunity for us to get out. We went camping. We went to a rustic campground, which is our favorite place to go, because when you don't go to rustic ones, you get yelled at a lot by people, and it's not as fun, because we like to have fun.
Let's rough it. I want all my toilets to be vaulted, yo.
Dude, we would have been booted when we got there. So here's the deal, guys. We went on this trip, and we got there at what, 9:30.
Yeah.
And rustic campground expected to be empty.
It had been raining all day. The forecast was garbage.
Yeah, it poured on the way up. We get there.
Thunderheads everywhere.
The rain stopped. There was still lightning, which looked heckin' cool, cutting across the sky. That was amazing, amazing sight. And we just rolled in this campground and we're just like putting flashlights on campsites, like trying to find the spot. We would have been kicked out so fast in a regular public spot. Oh my gosh. But like all the sites were full. We get to the last site available. You guys are not going to believe this. It was site number 1 and it was at the boat ramp. And we were like, yo, everybody else done screwed up. Why would you not take the site?
We were probably not over to lie. Less than 50 steps from the boat launch and less than 50 steps from the bathrooms. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't get much better than that.
No, it was fantastic.
And they had trees for hanging hammocks. Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. And so there was 2 spots open. One spot had no trees. Well, it had trees, obviously, but not the right hammock hanging kind. But we went 2 more spots down and we found ours, so it's fine. But yeah, if you guys watch on YouTube, so go follow us, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, BurlyFishing. You will see all the parts. I think there's going to be 3 parts and then maybe a bonus piece later. But I recorded it kind of like vlog style. Let me know if you guys like that. But like packing, traveling there, setting up camp first night, we had MREs was like our meal plan for the weekend because we had all these dry food pouches from a previous trip that didn't happen, but eventually will happen. Maybe a three-day river trip. It's gonna happen. But yeah, we were kind of testing them out, which gives us further knowledge and experience for the river trip. So we're kind of prepping for that, which is cool. I feel like I learned a lot. And then we fished so many hours all day. Like it was, I think
I asked Jeff at one point, I said, do you think anybody noticed that we were out for 12 hours, came back for 1 hour, and then went back out again for like another 4? Do you think anybody noticed? What happened the next day at the launch?
2 guys the next day because we rolled right back down. Yeah, we rolled right back down. Them boys
been out for like a full day.
Yeah, they came down and they were like, nice kayaks. Also, why were you out all freaking day yesterday? Also, go to this other spot now. Like some intel there. Yeah. Well, you just watch the video if you want to see what happens the rest of the time. But we caught fish. We filmed a lot of film. We did some reviews on the water. We did some MRE eating, and Paul poured half of our eggs on his arm, and it was hilarious. But all sorts of stuff coming your way. If you haven't seen those videos, go check them out on YouTube. And we had a great weekend. I would record that high up there amongst the weekends as one of the best, especially since we caught so many pike. Like I have not had a pike day like that, maybe ever. Definitely not in recent history. And it was like a 4-hour period, and we just slung them. Like one bait, it was like chatterbait, well, 2 baits, chatterbait, spinnerbait, classic pike time in the weeds, and we were just hammering them in 20-mile-an-hour winds, I might also add.
I still have a hole in my thumb.
You still have a hole in your thumb?
From the pike. All right.
Oh, it was a good time. It was a good time.
Did anything else happen? Oh, we had an amazing podcast. We did the camping trip.
Yep.
We worked while on camping trip. I think that was it. That's pretty much it. I bought some technology that's going to make the podcast phenomenally better. But I mean, really, I think that's the big stuff. Chad, we like to call him Chaz.
Chaz, yeah, because he's like
I'm sticking with Chaz. He's like the Wizard of Oz, but his name is Chad, so he's Chaz. Chaz is not here this week. He's doing other stuff. He's being a real human, doing his own thing. So that's why you're getting this.
Ooh, this. He flew to Detroit Airport and he was wearing his hat, and somebody said they recognized his hat. And that was a cool moment for me because he texted that to us, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool!" I've had a few moments like that where like we've done a few giveaways at this point, like maybe 4 or 5. We do them on the YouTube channel every single month, but people have like sent me a message of them wearing the BurlyFishing gear, and just little power tier comes just one, not 2.
Parature.
Parter comes my eye, and I just get so pumped, so jazzed for that. So that was really cool to hear. Whoever that was, if you're out there listening to this podcast right now and you were at Detroit Airport and you saw some dude who looks like Chaz, which we're never gonna show him because he's the man behind the curtain. You saw some dude at the airport in recent 2 weeks, and you said, "Hey, Burly fishing, cool. Thanks,
Good
man.
on
We
you.
appreciate, or man, or woman, or person. We appreciate you very much." Hey, let's talk about stuff in the boat, eh? Or you got a
No,
question of the
I
day?
got a question. I've been
What's the
thinking about this whole
QOD?
time.
What's the quad?
We did zero preparation for this
Oh, there's
whatsoever.
no prep. I still
None.
have Christine's show notes open. I'm gonna close those.
Jeff
Let's
just he
roll.
really just wants the show notes. So if there was one if someone was gonna buy you a gift, fishing related gift, but you couldn't tell them, like, you couldn't be like, I want a green, like, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
they just had, you were like, here's X amount of dollars, go buy me the gift. What would you pick? Let's say it's someone that knew you fairly well, but not super well. What would you pick for them to, like, go get for you? You'd be like, oh, I can tell you what to get, like what type of thing, but I can't say what specific thing.
Wait.
So you're like, I
Misunderstood.
can get me a shirt,
Uh-huh.
get me
So it could
some
be
shoes.
anything whatsoever, but I can't say the type of thing that it is.
Can't get specific. You can only be like, it's you go get me, like, you're gonna give them some. What would you hope that they get you?
Would I hope someone gets me without me giving
Yes,
them any information
they get
whatsoever?
nothing.
I mean, I would hope that they subscribe to me on YouTube, subscribe to the podcast, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and they'd be like, "Oh,
Uh,
he does fishing things. He likes fishing things." So, I mean, if
well,
it
it's
was,
fishing. It's gonna be a fishing thing. They're gonna get you a fishing thing. What is it that
then I
you
don't
hope that they
care.
get you?
Literally don't care.
You don't care. What if they get you like an extra small tank top?
Great, love it. Wear
That's a
it.
glove. That's a glove.
It's a crop top,
Oh
drop
man,
top,
you
cooking
suck.
up dope in the crock pot. It
Oh,
works for me.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I hope someone gets me.
What do you hope someone
I
gets?
hope I get the, like, basement assortment of, like, tackle. Like, the what is it? The
Oh, like they
crappie
just go,
the crappie max XXX. Like, I
yeah.
hope I get, like, just all the 199 or less baits. I hope they grab like 10 of them and they're like, here you go. I have no idea what this is. Have fun.
In
That's what I
that
hope I get.
case, I hope that they get me like the Plusino, like the Amazon Direct terminal box. Like that, I would love that. Are you kidding me? Like you guys go on Amazon right now, you see Plusino, Plusino, I think it's Plusino. It's like just the cheapest brand of stuff. There's probably like 7 brands on Amazon that are just like direct shipped overseas, super duper cheap stuff. But imagine just a terminal box with like tons of hooks and weights. Like,
Don't hate it.
I'd love it. I'd love that.
I want cheap baits.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm actually gonna go out with the intent of using those. Like, I'm gonna go hammer away. And there's like
Right.
something about being like when you go to the river and I have a box that's like this big for the river and it's got all
Yeah.
the stuff I'm gonna use for the whole day.
Yeah.
And then you just go on a hammer. Dude, it's like the best feeling. That's super fun to me.
Well, I guess, on that note too, just like a random novelty thing, like those bass flip-flops. You know what I'm talking about? Like
Oh
bass sandals.
no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You
A
know
thing I
what?
would never buy, but that if somebody was like, "Oh, by the way, here," I'd be like, "Pfft, yes. Yes." And I'm
I'm
gonna
just
wear
imagining all the pedaling videos of the two bass.
that.
All
Done.
right. I changed my answer. The line cutters,
Uh,
the Trump Biden topwater lures.
yeah.
That's it. I want both of those. I almost bought them. I was like, I had them in the cart. I'm gonna be honest with you. I had them in the cart.
That's awesome.
They're freaking sweet. I wouldn't even open them. I would not fish them. I'd be
Dude,
like, in 35 years, I'd show my kid and be like,
check
these
this
were
out.
the best choices that we had.
You think
They
you
were
got it
made into
hot, kid?
fishing lures. Are you kidding me?
You kids got it so easy these days.
Are you freaking joking? Like that. And I'm gonna
No,
talk like that once
no
I clean
matter
this
what, yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're gonna get your, what is it? The Boston
I
mid
mean, get
Midwestern
the
accent.
Midwest Boston guy, you
The
know.
Midwest Boston guy, you know.
I don't even know what
How,
that
how
is.
you guys freaking doing today, you freaking guys?
So just so everyone knows, when I get like tired like exhausted, a little hangry, and it's
You might as
probably
well
time
be
to have lunch. It
really
just
drunk.
gets weird on the water, and that's what's going to happen. I get the Midwest Boston guy. You turn
The
into this
Midwest
guy.
Boston.
He's got an accent. You can't quite place it. Maybe he's from the Midwest. Maybe he's from, I don't know, the East Coast. Who
I
knows?
don't know. You guys like casseroles? You get a
You know what I'm
casserole.
saying? Toss me the jerk bait. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to toss it out there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. Let's
All right,
talk
we've
about this
gone on to a
episode.
tangent. This is what happens with no show notes. So moving on, that's what I want. That's my answer. Final answer. Line cutters, Joe Biden / Donald Trump. You gotta have them both. I want them both.
Yeah, because
Gotta have them.
we don't make political statements on this podcast.
No, equal. I want them both, but I would never fish them. It would be
What
for
was
illustration
the
purposes.
but also an asteroid. There's three parties. There's the asteroid.
Yes.
It just destroys the world. All right, I don't know. I can't make up my mind, you
Okay,
guys.
they need to make a coronavirus one. I will buy that. I will actually buy all three. If they made that one, I would buy all three. This is not a joke. Anyways,
Okay.
moving on. That was the
Rolling.
tangent. So
Tangential.
sans show notes. This is what we're gonna roll into. We're talking boats. We're going what do we say? Bow to stern. We're gonna go front to back here. We were gonna go, what is it? Starboard to port. We were gonna do.
No, we weren't.
So
I
we're
just
gonna
said
go
that.
from front of the boat to the back of the boat. We're gonna walk through what's in our boats. We have the same boat. We have the same amount of space. We have 14 footers, big kayak. This is like the if you could carry all the crap that you could carry, which is basically what the options that you have. What is in the boat for you? We did the kayak routing episode. I think that was really helpful for people who are sort of like getting their first kayak. This is for somebody who maybe has the kayak and is like, okay, what do I like? I've got my basics, but like, what's next? This is probably a little more for you. Or they're like, what am I forgetting?
Yep.
You know what this reminds me of? Have you ever Googled what's in my truck or what's in your truck? It
Yeah,
is
man.
the most ass. I love it because you get everything from like the people who are like normal humans who are like, yeah, I've got some jumper cables, got some napkins.
Kleenex,
Yeah, I got some
napkin,
napkins. I got a
spork.
pen. I got a pen. Whatever. And then you get like the doomsday preppers who are like, I've got 16 sledgehammers. I've got
40
four.
gallons of gas.
I got 400 gallons of pre-boiled water. I like, dude.
Oh, that's
You
Boston guy.
Boston guy. He's got all that stuff.
The Boston Wisconsinner.
I got like 16 cases of spotted cow. Know what I'm saying, guy?
The spotted cow. Christine Throwback. Go listen to the episode. All right.
This is what you will. This is that. This is the boating version of that. So what's in your boat? So I would like to start with. I propose we start with the front hatch. Jeff, what's in your front hatch?
If I can even recall this from memory, I'll be impressed.
There's
a lot. There's a lot in there. So here we go. There's rain gear. There's a water.
Oh, what's rain gear? Well, like you got like 4 jackets. Got like
there's
okay.
one rain jacket, one pair of rain pants. If I care about my pants getting wet, which is like only in really cold weather. That's rain.
What are you talking? You like Sims $700 pair of trousers? What are we talking about here?
Nope, REI special. Just straight REI like garage sale level rain gear, like water resistant. Even like if we're out there for more than 4 hours and it's raining, I'm wet. I'm very wet.
I'll one up you. I also have rain gear. I got the Frog Togs in the original packaging.
Yep, because that you can bundle them up pretty tight. That's a good call. I used to have those in there, but last time Paul and I went on a trip and it was raining, I put on my togs. Do you remember what happened?
They shredded.
They shredded in the crotchal region, and we duct taped them.
Yeah, we had a custom gusset going on.
I just had like a silver crotch, and we were going places with people, and I was just like. And they were like the last ones I had on the shelf at Myers. They were just that beige color, so I was just like khakis. I was just khakis from top to bottom.
Marshmallow man, dude. Okay, but here's the thing.
The togs are so slim fitting too.
Oh god. Okay, if you normally wear a large, you need to buy an extra medium.
Medium.
So let me make the case for the togs though, and this is why they're still in my boat. They pack down to nothing. Like when they're in the original packaging, they're like 4 ponchos together. Like they're nothing. And in like an emergency situation, they're gonna keep the water off of you.
Oh yeah,
Like this is
for sure.
the only time I'm using this is like I have yet to use them. I probably never will because
I
typically
never
I'm just
use
gonna
mine.
get wet. But if I was in like jeans for some reason,
Yep.
which I was recently in jeans
Yep.
fishing, if and it started to rain, I'd be like, dude, this is gonna kill me. Like this might
Yep.
actually kill me if it was cold. So like this is like I didn't anticipate some rain. I'm in something that if I get wet, I'm in trouble. This
Yep.
is just gonna keep the rain off me. That is the only purpose. You could get away with trash bags, a couple trash bags. You'd be
Oh,
fine.
for sure.
Got a
For
hole for
sure.
the arm thing, put on the trash bag diaper, you'll be fine. So that the recommendation is just like mine is more like this is just emergencies only. Jeff would actually like wear these and be like a normal human, but
Yep.
mine takes up probably less space.
I would argue against that because
Cool.
like the gear I have from
Hyper
REI does
packable, like
it packs down really tight, and you actually just gave me an idea because it's in there loosely right now. I'm gonna go grab like my smallest waterproof bag and just pack it down even tighter, and then I'm gonna put it in the hull because then I don't care
we
if
haven't
I
gotten there yet. That's
yeah,
my
well,
tip.
all right. So, anyway, so rain gear, we kind of covered that. The next up that I think is extremely important, that I feel gets missed in most boats,
Tell me
is
more.
a toolkit.
Oh,
I
wow.
have I have a waterproof Plano 3700 that has screwdrivers, Allen wrenches. It's actually for whatever reason got a stringer in there just because in case I want to eat, man. But
Always
yeah.
have a stringer. Don't talk to me like my
I
child.
know you don't. I'm talking to our listeners, man. Yeah, so basically any tool that I could need for the Hobie to manage the drive, to manage the let's say I bend one of the drive masts that holds like the fins that help us move with our pedal kayaks, to I don't know, work on the rudder because the rudder is under four screws in the back. Like you don't have a screwdriver, something goes wrong, you're out on the water, like you screwed, dude. Like, and the funny thing is, I didn't have that on my boat until 3 months ago. And I had my PA-12 forever, and I broke my PA-12 like 38 times because I kept running into rocks before I got the kick up fins on the
I
365.
helped.
Yeah, Paul helped me break it one time, but we were both just being dumb, and it was just a hectic situation. That stuff you don't think that in those situations, so
No, but
it's
that's
whatever.
why you have the toolkit. I have one of mine too. Right after
Yep,
the first time we went out, mine was not acting right. If I had the toolkit, I may have been able to fix it. I
true.
now have
Yep.
Allen screwdrivers, all that stuff.
To be fair to that one, it was a hilarious misstep on our part, not on Hobie's part. Like we literally missed a piece because we had if you guys watch the video on YouTube, you can see us getting and unpackaging Paul's boat, and we put it together wrong. Like normally,
It wasn't
you
good.
want the certified Hobie professionals at the shops you buy the thing at to assemble it. Mine
I
was
was like,
professionally assembled.
no
Yours was
issue.
not.
I was like, nah, bro, I got this.
Yeah, the guy was like, "Do you want to wait like an hour?" And you were like, "We have to fish now."
Nah.
So, yeah, you brought it to my place. We built it. We screwed it up. We fixed it since. It's fine now.
And
All
now I
good.
know enough to carry a toolkit. What else is in
Surprise!
that? What else is in that?
It took us hours to figure out that one pin in
Good.
your the drive controller. That was hilarious. All right, so toolkit's massively important. If you guys are going out on a boat that has more than zero screws, you should have a toolkit. The end. Next up, toiletries. I have toilet paper and I have a pee bottle. Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
wipes.
I
I
so
don't
upgrade. I
upgrade.
have wet
That's
wipes.
a great idea. That
Yeah,
is a
just
great
like
idea.
barbecue, style wet wipes.
Barbecue. You said barbecue is your related thing.
That's what they give you is you get bigger sheets in the
You
barbecue.
just you just have wet naps. I thought you meant
Bro.
like actual toilet wipes.
Oh, no, bro, that's trash. No, these
You're
little
missing a lot,
no no no
actually.
no 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 no.
Mm,
These little
listeners,
look, just you get the idea.
we're drawing
Okay,
a
this
line
is
in the
what we got
sand
here.
here, bud. I'm on like the Cottonelle
I
package
have
of
that. Oh,
beautiful wipes. Just
so I
yeah,
have something
crisp,
and Jeff has something
clean.
else. That's fine. I also have toilet paper. That's the go-to.
The
All in
pee bottle,
I
the pee bottle is great. Our boats are stable enough you can pee off the side, but yeah, I don't want to risk any drips. So
It's not
just saying.
ideal. I also have a bottle.
Hmm.
Actually, this is
Just
this was in the tournament. This was in the bracket. Empty water
oh
bottle.
yeah,
This is in the
yeah,
bracket.
for
They
sure.
know.
Well, now you guys know where it lives. So anyway, so we got that. What's next?
Batteries.
Batteries.
Oh, yours. That's where I keep the batteries because I'm
We're
a
not we're
military.
not back there yet. That's further
For
back.
you, not for me. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Continue.
You
Continue.
say it. You say
I'll tell you
yours.
what's in mine. I'll tell you what else is in mine. A bow line.
Mm.
15-foot bow line.
I also have that. That's in case we got to drag, or in the case of our river trip on the channel, you guys can go watch us catch a bunch of smallies, have a heckin' good day. We tied the bow line around our waist and just dragged our boats upriver because we got
Yeah,
to a really weedy, really skinny area. It wasn't possible. I
it
mean, it's
does a lot.
possible, but yeah.
It does a lot of stuff. One, you can tie the boat to yourself and walk upriver. Two, you can tie off to shore if you
Yep.
want to like pull up anywhere and you don't want to risk losing your boat. Three, you can drag somebody else if for some reason their boat is irreparable.
Yeah.
And then four, you can tie yourself up to somebody else's boat if you're trying to film something. There's like a lot of reasons to have it. There's not a lot of reasons not to have it. I like a
Takes
12 to
up
15
zero
foot.
space.
And it
Yeah.
does not cost very much. I've used string before with carabiners. I actually still have one of those.
Yep.
There's
Me
a
too.
lot of stuff that you can do, but some sort of line that is strong enough to, in relatively severe weather,
Yep.
keep your boat secure to something.
We docked recently at a shop that had been closed for 3 years when we
Didn't
went
know.
camping.
How would you
We
know?
went, we went to a ghost shop that said like bait and snacks and stuff, and we were like, heck yeah, because we were still on the water. The water we were on was so amazing. I can't give you enough details to, do it justice because then you'll know where it is, and I don't want to do that because Paul literally kill me in my sleep. So we went to that place. We could have tied off because they had little docks coming out. It was like a little marina, but it would have been useless because there's nothing there anyways. But yeah, case in point that, and then I like took my wife fishing, and she didn't want to paddle anymore, so I just tied her boat to my boat and took her everywhere.
There it is.
Great, huge.
I, I also have a box of flies.
Yeah, because you always have something that you'll talk about in your hull in a minute that makes
Yep.
that worthwhile having. I don't yet have what you have in your hull in my hull. So,
What
just tell them what's in your hull.
So right underneath, inside the hull, underneath this
Yeah.
tub area that we're talking about, the front hatch, I also have a three-weight, really lightweight fly rod, and
Hmm.
sometimes if you're trying to catch like crappie or bluegill, there is nothing better. Period. The
Literally
end.
nothing.
End of story. It is a cheat code.
Yep.
So I just have some poppers and a little fly case to go with it.
Kind of huge.
Doesn't take up any space at all. Totally worth it.
No. Or any weight. Like there's no weight to
Zero.
that.
They don't
And
weigh anything.
it lives in your hull, which is below. So basically, you guys, if you're picturing this right now, go look up like a Hobie Pro angler. In the front, you got this huge cargo bin. It's a bucket. It drops
Yep.
in, right? You can pull it out underneath. You've got the inside of the hull, right? The inside of the boat where you can store a bunch of stuff. So he has the rod just kind of tucked down in there under actually our rods tubes. And then we also both have this. We have our full size paddles in the boat on the inside underneath, which is huge. We used them recently in a video that will never hit the internet because nothing happened that day. But we did go do some exploring in some skinny water, and you can pedal in skinny water. I'll just throw it out there. Like people are like, "Oh, that's why I don't have a pedal kayak." Well, no, that's a foolish thing to say. You're being silly. Uh, so that is not a reason not to have a freaking pedal kayak. That's
No,
ridiculous.
I mean,
But
but
all we
lock
did
the
was pull the
yeah.
drives and then pull it out, which we did on the water. You didn't have to get
So you can
out.
get
We did it
out. Yeah.
on the water. You pull the bin out, you grab your paddle, you put it together, and we paddled up a skinny river, which unfortunately was blocked and we couldn't do anything. So we
So rude.
left.
Damn tree.
Damn
There's also
tree.
there. I also keep in my hatch in the bin.
Hmm?
My emergency, we call it an emergency paddle is what it is. It's a collapsible
Yep.
oar in a
Yep.
plastic.
Yep.
And it's really for like just quick, like I just need to push off something or I just
Yeah.
need to like scoot back or whatever and I can't pedal or you get stuck in some insane weeds and you can't pedal. And I don't want to go through the rigmarole of putting all that stuff together. I just have this little, I like that it's extendable because it's a 40
Hmm.
inch plus wide kayak and so being able to have like a full size oar that just like
Yep.
extends to 3 feet and just and then like you know slide it back, it collapses down to like a foot, and then
Yep.
just shove it in the thing. It's super convenient. So that is also in there.
Mine is not the same. It lives further back. We'll get there. So the other thing that's extremely important in my front cargo, I just remembered, bug spray, sunscreen.
So
Huge.
I have a dry bag. It's not expensive, like $5, $10, one of those like really cheap Meyer brand, like cheapo
Yep.
water resistant bags, whatever. It's
Basically free.
just it's a sack, whatever.
Yeah.
And I have in there, and I keep it in the hatch because it's very accessible. I have in
Hmm.
there the Coppertone Sport SPF 30, the blue bottle spray, and rub
Hmm.
in sunscreen.
Hmm.
I have bug spray. I have my extra battery, my battery charger cables for the
Hmm.
GoPro. I have my wallet, my wallet, my keys, and like any other miscellaneous things. But I think that's you. If fishing
Yeah.
license this year, I don't have it because I don't have a printer and Corona and blah blah blah. But I have basically everything except for my cell phone that I carry in my person pretty much
Yep.
goes in there, and then that lives in the front hatch as well.
Yeah. So I have spray and rub in copper tone as well. SPF 50, which Paul hates me for, and bug spray with, not enough DEET because there's never enough DEET.
Still
Uh,
hit you.
so much. So I have those. My keys go in there as well, typically because the hatches have the bungee that kind of like straps it down. So I'm not worried, even if we flipped, like even though I keep it kind of unbungeed most of the time.
I keep one on.
Yeah, you do the one, and then you can access it so quick it doesn't even matter. So yeah, so I have that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so.
Hoodie.
Random assortment things. Yeah, the hoodie that you took off because when you got to the ramp at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, it was really cold, and now it's 90 degrees. Yeah, the hoodie lives in there for the day. I usually have like an extra hat in case I sweat through one, which I often do. And then maybe like a monster bass box if I wanna, I don't know,
I
get some
always have a mon. I was gonna
photo
say
ops.
I always have a monster bass box, and it
Yep.
actually has some lures that are like really
Yeah.
big and ungainly that like don't fit
Mm,
in anything. And I also keep some trolling equipment in there too in the monster bass
yeah.
box now.
That's a great spot for like just gigantic baits or like that little live
Test
target,
baits.
the live target umbrella rig that we have, that little
Yep,
A
that's
rig
where it is.
umbrella rig, whatever it is.
That's
Yeah.
where it is right now. Yep.
Yeah. Because I mean, try to bring like a crank and coffin or a jerk bait box or, that you're in a kayak, dude. Like we're in the kayak of kayaks as far as size goes. Ain't gonna fit in there. I can tell you
Yeah.
that much right now.
Oh,
So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the front cargo. We move back now.
yeah. So
Kind of take a
we're going.
jump back. Well, no, go to the
No, we'll go to the
the
very front.
mounts.
Yeah.
The
So I
mounts.
have there are two mounting brackets on the left and the right. Most kayaks have one at the fore part of the boat
Mhm.
on both sides, and then I know the new old towns have a couple like right in the front, like directly in front of you, like so a center console type deal
Yeah.
up in front of your feet. I know Jeff has this too. I have a mounting bracket, like a super flexible type bracket for a yak. Is it yak attack? It's a yak attack. The
The
arm.
the camera arm? Yeah.
Camera arm. Yeah,
Yep,
Yak
that's
Attack
the
camera
Yak
arm.
Attack. The
The Panfish
panfish.
Pro
Hmm.
33 inch, I think it is, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep. It's like
Um,
mid-size.
yeah, the medium size. And then that's for like a view of you sitting in your chair, fishing and stuff. Then on the other side, I used to have stuff. I now have nothing.
I
It's
don't need
open.
no,
It's open right now. Oh,
I
the
have
fish
I have a
finder.
thing because I don't have a choice. So yeah, my right side has the panfish mount. And that's it. And then on the left side, I have my whatchamacallit, my anchor wizard.
Hmm.
Yeah, because thanks to a certain virus, Hobie is not producing much, if at all. I
They're
cannot
doing
find.
stuff, but
They're
it's
doing
slow.
stuff. They're gonna catch up. I know, but I'm gonna have to wait till next year probably.
Yeah.
So Paul will talk about this further back in his boat, but I need like an H rail mount for my anchor wizard. Can't get it. So right now my anchor wizard is currently mounted. Although I did screw it into that plate, it's permanently mounted. It ain't going nowhere because like those little just self-tightening pins, like those do not work. The track mounts, that's not enough because you can't position it in a way that they're in a good spot to control the
There's no
cranking
leverage.
motion.
So
Yeah,
anybody that if you don't know what an anchor wizard is, it's basically a crank.
yeah,
It's an inch and a half, 2 inch wide crank with a 20, 40 foot ish line on it. That
it's
got
like
your anchor on it. And so as you turn this thing, there's a lot of torque on it because you're pulling
Yeah.
weeds up, you're pulling water, you're pulling an anchor that's anywhere
Yeah.
between, we'll say, 2 and 10 pounds, depending on who you
Yeah.
are and what kind of boat you have. And as you turn that, it's all made of plastic. And so
Yeah.
the way that Jeff's got his mounted, there's two screws, hand
Hmm.
tightened like screws,
To the
one and
universal track.
they're both in the middle of this, like they're lined up in the middle of
Yep.
in the center of the anchor wizard. You really need four bolts, one on all four.
Mm.
I'm using air quotes corners because it's a circle, but on all
Yep.
four, two on each side to make it like a really sturdy pull. This one has two and they're in the center. So as you turn it, it rocks left and right. And it makes you feel like you're gonna snap the damn thing
Oh
off.
yeah.
Now, it works. This is like the heaviest duty version of it. That probably works really great when the whole mounting surface is flat on the kayak. That's not what this is. This is like a plastic plate in the front.
Hmm.
So it's
Hmm.
not ideal, but it works. So
Hmm. Yeah, like it gets the job done. And I got to tell you guys, I've owned a Power Pro micro anchor, and just where we fish in Michigan, everything's a bowl. You can't use a freaking power pole. I'm trying to sell it. If
eight
anybody
feet.
wants one, if anybody wants one, hit
I
me
hate it. It's
up.
unusable, but if you want it, let me know.
Well, it's not unusual for them. Like if
No,
you
you're
if you
right.
fish flats, for example, you're gonna be in freaking heaven. I could have used it on the flats we were crushing pike on, but that's about it. Like, and it doesn't work in the rivers very well. If it gets, if you get too much current pushing against it, it
There's a
it
video. Go
freezes.
watch it.
I get stuck, I die. But yeah, to throw a little side note in here, if you guys want to see the stuff we're talking about, we have a few rigging videos on the YouTube channel. So go check those out. Paul
As soon as
has
I could get it,
posted.
as soon as I get a computer, I'm doing a full. I have a video recorded waiting to be edited. I have a
Yeah.
full walkthrough front to back.
Yeah, so Paul's done the full rigging. He's posted some stuff on his Instagram. You can check that out. I've posted them on mine, and I've posted them on the YouTube channel. So if you want just the visual, go there because obviously this video on YouTube is you and me in our offices.
I have my
Right.
fish finder. I have my fish finder on the left in the
That's the
front
next one up.
on the
Yep.
A trail.
On the A trail. I do as well. Mine's on the right. I
Hmm.
usually retrieve on the left, so I like having it on the right. I always land my fish on the left side, so I just decided to move it up. Although I have switched the position of the ram mount. We use the ram ball mount to the A trail adapter for our Lowrance hook two. Yours is the hook
No,
two
reveal.
reveal. Was it just called the hook reveal? The
Hmm.
new one? So Paul has the newer one. I got mine when I got my old Hobie. So mine's a little bit old, as like a 2-year-old model. So I have the Hook 2. We both have the 5-inch display. Paul's works better in some ways, worse in others than mine. We both have problems. Basically, mine, I have a battery issue, but also mine just doesn't read as well as Paul's does. His is much more clear on the display, but he doesn't have GPS. So we both got problems.
But
Lawrence,
I'm working on it. I'm
help.
gonna hammer those guys so hard. GPS for me is a huge deal. It's one of the main reasons I bought the one I bought. Um,
Man,
I
yeah.
gotta get it figured out. It's a big deal to me personally. But
We're
anyways, love it
we're
so
hammering
far. I
away.
mean, honestly, it sounds like it's a really bad review. I should really love that thing. It has worked out really nicely. It marks fish very well. Um,
Yours does.
and I trust mine. It's legit.
Yeah.
Um,
It's cool. But like I like the position of the arm, how
yeah.
you have your arm position. It's like folded forward with the screen up. So it's like as far away as humanly possible, but on
Yes.
an angle at which you could see it sitting or standing, which is huge. Because we obviously guys like we have a big fat kayak you stand up in it. So we stand 90, maybe 90% of the time we fish, like as much as we possibly can, because it's just also very comfortable to do in that boat. But you can't see your display if it's positioned where you're sitting, like further forward.
Too
The
close to you.
further, yeah, the further away it is, the better. Because when you're standing up, you can see it. When you're sitting, you can see it. Win-win. So I've recently, as of this trip,
Recording.
I changed it. Yeah, I changed it up to what you got. I totally 100% copied you. But I will never not say something like that. I will call myself out every chance I get, you guys. And your position was great, so I switched mine. So yeah, so we have that. Then you go a little bit further back, you get to probably the
Center.
drop in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
center
the
bit.
drop in bucket. So you have the drop in bucket
Most
too,
most
right?
kayaks, no, most kayaks
Oh,
do not
no,
have this feature. So right in between the feet and the Hobie, there's a hatch. You open it up. There's probably a 10-inch by 8-inch somewhere in that neighborhood.
just about.
Somewhere in that neighborhood, there's an opening. There are two options. One, The boat comes with, when you pull this open, the inside of the panel that you actually pull up has like
Which is sweet.
it's sweet. It has like a mesh pocket that's stretchy, and so it's
Yep.
meant for like keys, cell phone, like that sort of thing.
Hmm.
Because it's all waterproof, and then it's obviously
I've literally never thought about putting my keys there.
strange.
I know, right?
You can do whatever you want with it, I
I
guess.
never use that net, but that net is sweet.
It is sweet. I've never used it either yet.
Yeah.
But then on the inside of it, it comes stock with basically two tiny trays that hold two Plano 3700, 3600s,
36.
3600s. I have two
Which is why I
boxes
don't
of,
use it.
yeah, I have two. I actually do use it because I've ordered a bin. The other option that you can get is a drop-in bin, and it's probably 6 inches deep, you think?
Uh, yeah,
Deeper?
I measured this out because I tried to see a while ago. I got that Flambeau spinnerbait box, and I tried to get one that would fit in there.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I wanted to have 48 spinners at a time because you guys know me at this point. I carry too much crap. But that's me. That's how I like to fish, whatever. Um,
But it's big. I mean, it's sizable.
yeah,
It's a good
pretty
size bin.
large.
10
Yeah.
inches wide, probably 6 or 8 inches, probably 8 inches at least deep, and then
5.75.
ish. And then, but there's a bin that drops in, so it's just an open space for you to like
Yeah.
throw stuff. So that's what Jeff has. I have one on order. It hasn't come in yet, but
Oh,
so
that's right. That's
yeah.
why. I was
So
like, I
right
knew you were
now,
getting it, but
yeah.
yeah.
So right now I'm running actually the two 3600s, and I
Which
have
is sweet. I wish I could have both.
it's actually working out very well because
Yeah.
I have a topwater box in there
Hmm.
that has all my top waters, and then I have another box just for Ned rigging. So it gets a
Yes.
lot of metal outside of my terminal box. It gets a lot of plastics outside of my plastic bins. It is legit. And then the top water box obviously gets a ton of baits outside of my Busby. So that has actually been you could get away with not having it. I am going to move away from it at some point,
Yeah.
but the way I have it rigged right now, I actually really like. So that's what's in my center console.
Funny side note on that. Paul mentioned that we haven't used our Ned rigs in like 2.5 fishing trips, which is totally true and insane because we Ned rig like every
Constantly.
single time we go out on the water. But
Constantly.
well, it's just the lakes we've been hitting are matted grass and like you just can't. Like, what are you
Late
gonna
summer is
do?
not exactly ideal for Ned rigging most
You could throw a
situations.
Ned rig on a bobber.
Anyways, there's
Wait. So on the note of like absurd rigging options, I want to shout out to the guy that commented on a YouTube video, the MTB box. We got that live target bait ball lipless. He was like, "Bro, you could throw that on an umbrella rig." Like, just throw like 7 of them on an umbrella rig. Can you imagine?
500 bait fish.
Just so many. Yes, that's like 80 trebles. Like, of course, you're gonna catch a fish just because you threw so many hooks.
You will also catch everything. You won't.
I,
There'll be nothing will remain
yeah.
uncaught.
I replied that would be highly illegal, like jokingly, and he was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, I was kidding. I thought you were
Just
kidding.
kidding. I'm just
I thought
kidding.
you were kidding.
He's
Joking.
like literally dangling
He's like,
15
I
treble
just made
hooks.
it. I
I'm
just
halfway done.
$47 umbrella rig. It's freaking
It
dope.
was kind of a good call though.
Dude, it's hilarious. Think about that, guys. That's hilarious. All right, so my center console space is a drop-in bucket, as Paul was saying. I did that. He's waiting on his. It is a fantastic option, I believe, because it's waterproof. So I put all of my cameras in there. So I usually carry, unless I'm fishing with Paul, I just put this on him, the GoPro 7. So I have the backup camera. I have like 4 or 5 memory cards that are backup memory cards, mostly for camping trips like we just went on. I've got a spare case for the 8 because I run the, what is it called? 3BR Power Sports. It's like the aluminum waterproof wired. So you can actually wire your GoPro Hero 8 to a power bank.
We'll get into
Uh,
that.
yeah, this is where my stuff is. So like my extra power bank is in there. I have just like the standard like Anchor, the smaller one from Amazon, and then I have like a Mophie from back in the day, which is not as good. But the Anchor is fantastic. It runs for days. I ran it without charging it the entire weekend at this camp trip, and I ran my camera all heckin' day. And Paul has like the Big Daddy version of that with like 3 USBs. It's absurd. It's huge. It
When he
weighs
says
38
Anchor,
pounds.
that's a brand. ANKER?
ANKER. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Then they make like headphones, battery power,
They
like
make,
all kinds of technology
but they're
related
so
stuff.
affordable. It's
And they're high
dope.
quality. Like that battery, that
Yeah.
that charging station, full disclosure, I've only charged it twice. I've had it
Yeah.
for 3 months, four
It's
months.
absurd. And you forgot to charge it before this trip,
And it
which
didn't
was
matter. It
hilarious.
still had 2 lights out
Didn't
of 4.
didn't
It's
even make a
ridiculous.
difference.
It's
Yeah, this
stupid.
thing will run my camera on all day.
In
All day
90
long.
degrees.
In 90-degree weather. That's the cool thing. Is like, so I run my GoPro Hero 8 without batteries now. And when it's plugged into the power bank, it never overheats. I've had overheating problems a ton. I had most of my overheating problems with the 7. The 8 overheats sometimes. Yeah, the 7 was awful. I had a series of events that happened where I was catching big smallies at a dam and it overheated so hard that the colors like changed on the camera. It's a video I've since deleted, but it was on the YouTube channel and it looked horrible because like all the colors got screwed up because the
Not
camera
ideal.
just so hot. Yeah. So the 8 never overheats anymore. It's on a power bank. I run it all day. Never change my batteries. I'm in freaking heaven. But I also have a waterproof well not I guess it's not waterproof, a Plano box that is just an open box. There's no dividers in there, and that is where I put the power bank if I'm charging camera batteries, or I just keep like camera batteries and memory cards if I'm like fishing with Paul. Sometimes I supply them to him, and this last trip I just gave him the box because it just made more sense. But yeah, so I have that. I have screen wipe slash glasses cleaners in case I get like water on the screen on the GoPro or on my glasses. And then, I'll have my fishing licenses in there and a waterproof container or sleeve, like a little Sims sleeve that I like a lot, actually. And then I have some extra like leader line, fluoro and mono in there. It's because it doesn't go anywhere else. So it just goes in there. And I think that's about it. I got my
So what's
Rogue
a
Fishing Co. Phone
yeah,
leash
yep,
because I
on
don't
your
I don't
vest.
I don't always wear it, but sometimes I'm like, man, I might lose my phone today. So then I'll rig
Conscious.
it up.
So
Like
what
20
else is
mile an hour winds, I was
yeah.
like, I might lose my phone today. So I rigged it up that day, for
So
example.
what else is in your vest then? Because that would be the next thing.
Oh my God, the PFD.
Yeah.
So first of all, yo guys, if you ever watch us on YouTube, we're like hard PFD advocates. Like, there's no reason. If you listen to the Mike Catch episode, go listen to that. Mike Ketchkowski, who is an awesome dude, tourney angler, fantastic Michigander. Love that guy. Follow him on Instagram, first of all. Second of all, he mentions like kayaking in, I think he said winter, ice was breaking. There was a dude with no PFD in a
That
kayak.
that was Yellow Dog.
Oh, was that Yellow Dog? That was Craig?
That was
Craig
Craig
Hefner. That's
Hefner.
in that episode as well. But also Ketchkowski, like Mike also agrees full-heartedly.
No,
Like
it's a note. Like anyone who's in
PFD
kayak
is out.
angling, like it legitimately just wear your PFD. Now here's the reason to wear your PFD other than just safety, which is a good reason.
Storage.
Dude, I legit okay. So I see
So
people
much
with
stuff.
those really nifty like CO2, very
Mustangs
freeing,
and yeah.
open, you
Hobie makes
know,
them too.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Eh.
PFDs where you just like pull a ripcord if you were to
Yep.
fall out of your boat, and then the CO2
Parachute shoots
inflates.
out.
Yeah, and everything's great. Okay. Here's the draw to that is they are very small. You're probably never going to need them, so
Yep.
it's always out of the way. They don't weigh very much. And someone, if you're into fishing and you've got sponsors, someone can see like your whole chest, and that's like more retail space for you. So that's great. They're also very expensive. If you ever use one, you have to go like get a whole new like container for CO2. Like you have to go buy the main thing. It's like another $100.
Not cheap.
No, and they don't really have any pockets or anything. And like my PFD is very comfortable. I don't even think about it at all. I just
Yep.
put it on and I enjoy it. It also has a couple of pockets that I actually find extremely useful. One, sunglass holder. It is super quality, and when I take my
Yeah.
sunglasses off, they go in there, and it's actually I don't have to worry about them at all. Versus like on
Yep.
top of my hat or anywhere else, like they can disappear. So that's
Yep.
like $100 mistake waiting to happen. Two,
Yep.
I keep fun stuff in the left side as well as like I have a little box of sinkers.
Hmm.
Fits perfectly in there. Super convenient. I keep my oh God, what are they called? They're like very small pair of pliers, an incredibly
Hmm.
small pair of pliers, and I just clip them onto my vest. and they're like always within reach at any time that I need them. Super convenient. The other one, the other pouch, I actually keep my cell phone. So it zips up very easily. And when I need to like go take a picture, when I need to like do the fish release, when I need to do whatever, I literally just reach into this like very slim pocket that like perfectly holds my cell phone right where I need it. I think that's pretty much all I keep in there, but it obviously varies.
I have mine here.
The passive is neato.
Well, this is, dude, I got this at Myers. This is an Onyx.
Onyx. It's actually a very highly rated
It's
PFD.
for the value, I think, because
How
this
much
is
was
like
yours?
a $40 PFD. This is like the one scenario where Paul has something more expensive than I have.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Because I'm usually like, well, what's the best thing? I'll get that, right? Because it'll make me a better fisherman. It doesn't.
Not bad.
But yeah, this is the Onyx. I got it at just like a regular grocery store, like Myers in the Midwest. You'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, like we've got the little wacky rig tool sits right here. We've got like this sleeve. I usually put my phone in this side. It's got a little side zipper pocket there. This is my fun stuff pouch. This is my power bank. Goes into this sleeve. It actually slips down. This is for pliers, actually. But my pliers are actually rigged to my boat. We'll get to that in a second. But the power bank slides right into here, and I can actually Velcro the line in, the cord, the USB cord, so that it doesn't get in the way as I'm shooting video. And then I got my chesty over top of that. Here's the Rogue Fishing Co., my little phone holder that I use sometimes on the left side there. But yeah, a lot done. It's super lightweight. It's definitely bulkier than yours. But I do also like, if you guys are shopping for kayak PFDs, this mesh back, huge. Like having this.
Mine is the same thing. Have the
Yeah.
rear, the back, the flotation in the back being up high so that it's
Yeah.
above the top of your seat is critical. I have
Critical.
this.
If you want to be comfortable.
I have the Stolquist Fisherman, which I actually just looked up a little while ago. It's still like $100 some. Um, it's unbelievably comfortable. I have put 3, 4 seasons, at least 4 seasons into it, and it still kicks ass. The thing I really like about it is when you zip down the pouches in the front, they actually fold down into like a work table. So convenient. The plier holder,
That actually
stupid
does
nice.
too.
Oh, dude, bolt.
Does.
I love my best. I'm sure other ones are great. That's just the one that I happen to pick.
Yeah.
I think you can get it for like $80 because they're almost always on sale. But man, anyone ask me, I'd be like, that's a great vest.
That or like the Chinook are like the go-tos. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure the Stolquist or the Chinook. Yeah.
I almost bought the Chinook. It's got a cool knife holder, which is like I think a big selling point. I keep my knife in my pocket.
I do as well.
What else? I think that's pretty much it. So then what's on the left and the right?
So I'm different
Of the
from you in
seat.
this case. Yeah. And also under the seat because I'm also different from you for now. But I know that you just bought that container. So
I have
let's go.
opinions.
Let's go under the seat first.
Okay.
This is my opinion. I have a giant, like $5 just plastic tub that I fill with all of my worms and creature baits, just worms and creatures. Um, I have them in a variety of brands, mostly because I get a lot of subscription boxes. So I have like too many plastics to even like consider. Like it's absurd. Like if you guys are watching YouTube, there's like 1/10 of my plastics. I take a lot of them, and you know what? Like Paul and I do a lot of exploring new waters. I don't know what the water's gonna be like till we get there. Case in point, when we went camping, we had no freaking clue, and that was a chain of lakes, like too many bodies of water to ever consider like what the heck would I even need there. One of them had a species of fish I've never even fished for. Like, are you kidding me? How am I gonna know what to throw at them? I'm gonna have to dial it in. And like I'm okay with doing that. I'm a kitchen sink fisherman. I will throw everything I own at them until they bite it, and then I'll dial it in. That's usually what I do. And it usually works for me. That's just how I fish, right? But I had somebody like say, "Bro, you got too many plastics. Bro, you got a Bass Pro Shops in your boat." And I'm like, "Yeah, I do. Like, I love having it. I love it. I have everything I need.
So
Your
bin is almost it's the exact same width as underneath the seat
the dimensions
and the same depth.
Seat.
It takes up the entirety of underneath the seat.
Let's just say I'm
that's what it's for.
I'm not touching it with my butt, right?
Yeah,
but
no,
it is pretty big.
But that is actually what the space underneath the seat is actually meant for.
Yeah, it's meant for storage of some sort. I used to have 2 tubs that fit in there because you actually have on the Hobies like a recess, like 2 recessed pieces. So you could have two smaller bins, which I think you have one that fits in one side. I'm pretty sure that's the size you went with. I can't remember. But like I used to have like a worm binder and a creature binder. And now I have just worms and creatures, right, in one big bin. And it's fine. I also have two the Bass Mafia money bags that go wherever the heck they can on my boat. One is paddle tails and one is Ned rig stuff because I have an insane amount of that. I don't have a Ned rig box anymore. I just have like the terminal box, which we're getting to all those things, and the Ned rig plastics bag. So I can just rig them as is. Tell you why in a little bit. There's a little pro tip that I learned a very hard way that we're going to get to. But so that's under seat, left and right. I'm different from Paul here. He has the original netting, which I know you get to what you put in your netting there, which is awesome. Snacks. And on my left and right, I have the Burly Pro side bros, which were meant to go onto the Vantage seat, which is the Hobie seat, which is the best seat on the kayak market. Hands down, fight me. It is the best seat there is. It's amazing. Like what kayak seat has lumbar support?
What kayak seat pulls out and doubles as like a camp chair?
It's your camp chair. It's your beach chair. It's stupid. It's a stupid seat. I love it. I love it to death. But left and right side, I have the Burly Pro side bros. Go look them up. It's just like a heavy duty plastic material. They actually replace. They're the exact dimensions of the netting, so they screw right into place on the side of the boat. They're great. One of them fits a very small, my micro jig box, usually my MEPS box, or in this case, this trip, lippers for pike. And on the other side, it actually has a molded plier position. So I have the Bubba's. Is it what is that the brand?
Yep, Bubba.
Yeah, so I have the Bubba pliers, which love those pliers by the way. But they fit right into that. And it also fits like spare plastics, spent plastics, trash, whatever else crap just kind of goes into that side. But that is my like across the seat panel section. Well, and then the H bin. So I have the H rail bin on the side. This is all in the exact same parallel area here. But I have the H rail bin on the side, and that is where I keep my Busby, the most important terminal box on my boat at all times, because it carries the plethora of things I think I'll use for the day. So that's my go-to box. And then I have my terminal Plano Edge until Busby makes me a terminal box that's a little skinnier. Hashtag Caleb. I hope you're listening.
Doesn't even have to be skinnier. It'll fit in there.
Doesn't even have to be skinnier. Just like a specific, what I want from Busby, and I wish we had done this on Caleb's episode. I want what Plano Edge has for the weights. Just the worm weights. So they're not bouncing around. If you got Woo Tungsten, the chipless, right? The no chip edition, cool. They can bounce around. Who cares? But most of the other crap, like you got.
Or if they had silicone or silicone lined bins.
Yeah, exactly. Just something to drop them in so the weights don't knock around. That's what I want. But right now, I have the Plano Edge terminal box. It sits in there. It fits nicely with the Busby. The Busby is a little bit thicker than like your standard 3700 size box. But this H bin fits 3700 size terminal boxes or tackle boxes. Works great. So those two sit up front. I usually just get those unless, Paul is out calling shots and he's like, "Oh, bro, do you have like this thing?" And then it's behind me in a thing we'll get to in a minute. So
what's on the other side on the H rail?
On the H rail on the other side? Nothing. Oh, the cup holder. No, that's on the same side. For me, it should be on the other side. I know. I should go to jail now.
Yeah.
Right side, bro.
What a prison.
I'm gonna switch it tomorrow.
All right. So
it's a cup holder.
Yeah. I have one thing that I forgot to mention. I have in the very front by the hatch, I have a pile of used plastics and or lures that I don't feel like putting away. So there's that.
It's a storage bin in and of itself. It's just open concept, bro.
I actually am going to make at some point, I don't know if it's going to be foam or some sort of like waterproof plastic that I glue down or something like this.
No. Let's get Hobie on the podcast. Guys, make it happen. And gals,
seriously,
help us out, please. But imagine, so if you guys are familiar with the Hobie, like you've got the rod tubes, which we didn't talk about. I guess it's technically on the same plane as this as well. But you've got on the 14-foot 6 rod tubes, which can hold, thanks to Christine Fisher, I know, 12 rods. Or 6 if you're lame like us. But if you put rod sleeves on your rods to protect the guides, it'll hold 12. It's insane. But yeah, so you have your rods just laying in the side of the boat, inside the boat. It's a bass boat for one. Talking to you guys like, come on. How is this not the best boat on the market? Are you kidding me? Of course it is. Don't disagree. But they slide right into those sleeves. But when you take the rods out and you're fishing all day, there's just this little nook and cranny in the front on both
There's
sides.
nothing there.
Nothing sits there because your rods are up. They're like sitting in your H crate behind you, or they're laying up on the side. That space is open. So Paul's is full of his baits. Mine actually go, they end up behind me. Like, in that little, there's another little nook right behind the chair that comes up to this little divider that goes to the cargo bin in the back. And all that space, that's where my crap goes. Like usually on the left side. Left side is all that. Right side is like plastics I have out because I'm just ripping through them. Like when we were chatterbait fishing on this trip, I was just dying. Paddle tails were dying left and right. So I
have like video footage of me just going nope, 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 and just throwing stuff into the corner.
Yeah. So that's Paul's corner. I use the same just in the back, but
no,
Hobie, give me like some sort of little like positional bucket that could like stay put decently well. Just open.
Doesn't have to be perfect.
No, it doesn't have to be perfect at all. It's just like an open bucket.
Yeah,
You can't. It can't be permanent.
Some sort of like what's that?
Silicone or rubber
like
feed
a
on it.
silicone rubbery,
yeah,
and then you just like sort of or suction, and you just press it down, and it just stays there. It's never gonna get butt. It's perfect.
They have like that rough surface, so it won't suction to that. But like rubber feet would be great. Just a little bucket,
like the Yeti feet. Just put it right.
You know what I'm gonna do? You know what you need? Go to like Myers and grab like the little office trays and get one of the ones that's a little bit bigger, like a little cube. Those usually have rubber feet on them.
Dude, I'm gonna do it. I love it.
Right now. Go to the store. Right. Tomorrow, maybe this weekend.
So now that we're back, I'm gonna do warp speed. My main area. We're all talking about the main area. This is everything that's within arm's reach. This is where you're sitting.
Yeah, you don't have to get up and get it.
I use the rod storage. I keep 6 rods at all times. I actually have a system. So I have a workhorse crankbait rod that's like a medium heavy, extra fast. I have a little bit more buttery 7-foot cranking rod that is for crankbaits. I have a heavy rod that is for frogging, like in flipping. And then on the other side, specifically the other side, because the way the orientation of spinning reels is, I want the reels up. So I keep at the bottom an ultralight that I use for like a bunch of random stuff. And then I keep a workhorse, the Bass X, which I use for a lot of like spinnerbait type stuff, really for the most part. But really it's a heavier stick. And then I have a finesse rod, and that actually probably gets it's tied for the most use, next to like the workhorse crank rod. And that's all I keep. And usually 4 of them are in the back, and then the 2 least used ones stay in the rod holders. That's kind of my standard. That's my standard run.
We'll end up doing like probably a rod and reel episode, because I don't think we have really. Because like I have a bunch of new reels. I need some new rods. But
so that's what I'm running in the rod holders. On my right hand side, so this is actually very specific. So I said the screen is on my left hand side. It's way in the front. It's totally out of the way. On the left hand side, I also have a cup holder. It's actually behind my hip. So that entire side of the boat's totally open. That's where I'm actually landing a ton of fish. And that's also where I'm getting in and out of the boat. So that is like totally open. Now on the right hand side, I have the tackle bin. That tackle bin is the exact same as Jeff's. Has a terminal box, has the Busby box, and I'm reaching to that constantly. It also on the right, instead of Jeff's, where he has his anchor wizard for managing his anchor line, his is in the front. Mine is actually behind my hip, like right on my hip on the right hand side. Very easy to reach, and very out of the way. It's technically mounted on the outside of the boat. I also have right behind me on my hip a rod holder. It is forward facing. That means the rod tip actually faces the front of the boat. This has been I have a couple of videos I need to post on this. I'm just waiting until I get a computer so I can actually edit these things. I know I say this all the time, is a game changer. It changes the way that I manage all of my storage. So whenever I'm changing lures, I just put this thing right next to my hip. It's very close to me. and then the rod tip is actually above my head, and dangling down is the bait, like right in front of my face. So I just
Yep.
work it, I let it go, grab the rod, and I'm fishing. When I land a huge fish, I landed a pretty nice pike this weekend. When I
Yep.
landed that fish, I just stuck this thing in the socket next to me, and now I'm free to work the fish and work the net and do whatever I need to do, and I'm not
Yep.
managing it. But the bait and the fish and everything is right in front of me. And it's not on the deck, ready to get
Yeah.
stepped on, ready to get hit by a fish, ready to get tangled.
Or
This
worse, behind you and it falls off the side of the boat, which has
yeah,
almost happened to me a dozen times.
this is
I have this set up too, because we're getting back to what's behind our seat. But yeah, like the rod holder there is clutch because you can turn it to the side and troll with it or
that's,
turn it forward.
that's
So it's
amazing.
forward. Yeah, it's forward for both of us unless we're trolling. Because I
Yeah.
also stole this idea from you, which is genius, by the way.
It's and this I stole from one of my favorite brands of kayak. I love you, Hobie, but Old Town. Old Town has they
Yeah.
this is like what they do. So this
Yep.
is incorporated actually. They have a molded in
It's
version of it in all
molded,
their
yeah.
boats. It's freaking sweet. It's
But
such a
ours is
good idea.
adjustable and we control
Yeah,
with it. I'm
there's an
just
argument
saying.
to be made. There's an argument to be made. It is genius idea. So I have that. Then
Yep.
the real difference between Jeff and I, there's two major things. One, he has those little Burly Pro things where he keeps all his little knickknacks. I have the original the things that it comes with, which is the little
The
stretchy pouches
nets. Yep,
on the
which are
right.
sweet.
They are sweet. On the right hand side, I keep some weights, but I like lead weights, mostly for really heavy drop shot and some split shot, which I very rarely use, but sometimes you need it. So I have some of those in there, and then I keep my lippers, which double as my right now my what do you call it? Like
Oh,
a
you have the lippers that weigh them as well.
yeah, it
Yeah.
weighs the fish,
Scale,
whatever.
fish scale,
Scale.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you get technical. I need to get another one. I just haven't figured out which one to get yet.
Yeah.
So that's where that lives.
I told you which
Um,
one to get. I forgot. Quick tangent. I have a first aid kit, very important in the front
oh,
cargo. I just remembered. First aid
which
kit,
I
which I
use because I
have,
got bit by a pike.
which Paul needed. So you guys need one in your boat. Little
You
first aid
should
kit,
have one.
band-aids,
Band-aids at a
gauze,
minimum.
alcohol swabs, whatever. Yeah. And then I have the it's the Rapala, it's the black one
50
with
pound
like
digital.
yeah, the digital scale that has the little like nice little plier lippers or whatever they're called. You know, like the fish gripper for the lip to
Gripper.
like keep the fish safe. It's not a hook. It's a little bit better for them, I think. And then it's got the display that's good at like night and during the day. It's like
And
the
for
high
taking pictures, let's
contrast.
be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's sweet.
So
I need to get that one. And then on the other side, I have just recently figured out that that pouch is perfect for one, trash. So that's where I keep all my garbage.
yep.
But the most important thing that it holds on to is a bag of sunflower seeds, and it holds them just open enough where I can leave the bag open, very secure, not going anywhere. It's a rubber pouch, and I just reach in there and grab seeds and eat them all the time. It is the most amazing thing. I don't know how I didn't. I just
All
Hobie,
day.
how did you know? It's
If
amazing. It's perfect.
Paul is in a video of mine, you will hear, oh, check out this. So
I don't care. Too bad.
I
Deal with it.
apologize in advance because he does help me with like some of the tackle slams. He helps me with a lot of the fishing
This is
trips
what you got
for
to
sure.
deal.
We are like it. I would put it this way: we're co-anglers, but like one of us doesn't have to be, in the worst position at the back of the
Exact back of the
boat.
boat. It's this is critical. This is enhancing everything. The hangriness is greatly impaired.
It's no, it's great. Plus, you got like the salt from that kind of keeps you from getting dehydrated throughout the day.
So
Like, I'm gonna practice my seed game because I suck at it really bad. But
I do
sunflower
it.
seeds is a great boat snack. Great
I'm
boat
not sure what I'm better at, eating seeds or breathing. Still trying to figure it out.
snack.
The under the seat is actually probably where the biggest difference comes in. So Jeff has one big bin with all his plastics. I only keep maybe less than half of my plastics in the boat with me. Most of the plastics live in a huge tackle bag that just lives in my truck 24/7. And I grab the ones that I need the day before, and I just sort of every time we go fishing, I just like sort of grab what I need and put it in one bin, which is maybe a third the size of Jeff's. It takes up half the space underneath of the seat, and it's just like a $2 waterproof
Yep,
bin with little handles.
basically perfect.
Um, but it's the same size as a bag of plastics. Like it fits
Yep.
them all, like same size. Anyways, on the other side, this is where I feel like this is something I'm probably never going to get away from. I need to find a better version of it that's a little bit bigger and does more, but I have just a like kind of canvas, like cotton polyester style, like what you call like a weekender bag, like a very small tackle bag. The top zips open. It's just one large compartment. There's a long pouch in the very front, and then both sides have a pouch on either side, and the back has a little mesh pouch. I have on that a zinger that's facing like my front, and on that zinger are my snips for cutting line. That is super clutch. I just reach right under me, snip, let it go, and it goes right back to where it was. I pull that out. I have specialty plastics in there that have odd sizes that don't fit in like any kind of tackle bin. I have 3 spools of extra line. I carry 3, sometimes 4. I carry braid, heavy, braid, light, mono, medium, and fluoro. I carry my little tool that does my Nico rubber bands. I carry bobbers, hooks, a small container of like river like tackle for like crappie and bluegill. I carry just all sorts of odds and ends. Like I carry a knife in there just in case I want to keep fish. That's where I keep my stringer in case I want to keep fish. You can like put anything in this. It's so convenient. Anyways, that was under there. And actually the shoulder strap for it is great because it just straps to the side of the back side of the seat. And I know I'm never going to lose it if we ever tip. Might get soaking wet, but not a problem.
Which is almost impossible, I might add, with our boats to tip them. I'm very interested. I'm putting it here right now. We're going to do a stability test, whether it's in a pool or on the lake, doesn't matter. We're going to empty out one of the boats. Yeah, we're going to empty out a boat so we don't damage or lose electronics and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not interested in losing a bunch of money to make a video. But we'll empty it out. We're going to test it out. I'm pretty sure you can't tip it because I have hit some freaking currents and eddies and like not been tipped. I mean, I'm sure maybe on the ocean.
I can think of one situation where you would tip it.
Yeah, like
if you're standing on the A-trail.
Extremely rare. Like, why would you do that, right?
That's only both feet on the A-trail.
Exactly. It's going to be only something you do if you're doing a stability test video.
It'll be great.
If you're trying to get clickbait, which we're going to, then you do that, and I'm going to do it, like for sure. But that is not something you do while you're fishing ever. So it's not going to happen. So I mean, but yes, I digest. Very important. And you just reminded me, my clipper tool is always just on my belt loop, like always there. The little zinger, the little boomerang.
Yeah, that's a good call actually.
Which
I used to keep
I
my
wish
pliers.
Boomerangs were better.
We're actually going to be line cutters are actually in the mail today.
Yes,
I'm very excited. I actually have a plan for all 3 versions of them. But yeah, so
we're digging in. We're going to do a review on the channel.
Oh god, yeah. That's actually just probably the biggest difference between Jeff and my setup, though, is underneath the seat. I think everything else is actually very similar. That's probably the biggest difference. So moving back, we both have
a very important thing that is somehow severely underplayed in the market.
It makes no sense.
I don't get it, you guys, but the Boondocks is life-changing. And I'm pretty sure you were a converted for this, yeah? Like you were like, that looks dumb, kind of weird.
Well, I wasn't sure. I just wasn't
You weren't sure.
I had never done it though.
So originally when I had my PA12, we had the scupper hole wheels, the standard kayak wheels for bigger kayaks as the scupper hole wheels. They go in. Sure, they're easy. Sure, you can rig up a bungee cord and make it easy lift, it drops or pulls in, whatever. That's fine. They're not ideal. Don't tell me they're ideal. They're not ideal. The Boondocks have made upgrades over the years. And at this point, I feel like they're at a very good spot with the HD hardware. And we both have the exact same setup. It comes with a track mount that runs the width of the boat, which, as Paul has said, is pretty freaking wide. It's like 40 plus inches. It's huge. It's extremely wide. So we have a track mount in the back that runs the full width of the boat that we can mount.
Extra space to do stuff.
You can mount anything to it, right?
I have one rod holder. I'm getting another one for the other side. So 2 forward facing / trolling. Yep. And then right behind me is actually, I'm going to get another one of those Starport HD mounts. And that's where I'm going to just leave that in there for my safety light.
Yeah.
For night fishing.
just to be clear here, guys, Boondocks landing gear. Go look it up. I've actually made 2 install videos. Look at my newer one on the green boat.
I used it.
The
It was great.
Yeah, the Hobie Pro Angler 360 edition of my Boondocks landing gear is the edition to watch. If you want to see what an install usage looks like, very easy to do when you do it right. The old videos, honestly, there was a big mistake they made in the old videos by using heavy gauge wire to try and mount this like
You can't even
metal.
explain it. Just
Yeah,
it was a cluster.
it
This
was
video is
wrong.
solid.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say it was wrong. I'm gonna give myself a little pat on the back. I heard from a viewer recently that Boondocks is referring to my video now
They
for
should.
installs.
It's very good. It is really good. I used it. At some point, again, I need to get a computer so that I can make this
Yeah.
happen and do some
Yep.
editing because right now I'm using my work computer and we're keeping
Yep.
work and life as separate as possible.
Mhm.
But no, I actually used it and I did it in Jeff said it was gonna take like hours. It took me an hour and a half maybe.
Yeah, I will say that I have made all the mistakes with it and learned
Yeah,
from them though.
for sure.
I've installed, reinstalled, upgraded, and changed them 4 or 5 times. But I'm at the point where they are the best now. So, you do it right. This is a pair of wheels that are permanently mounted to your boat, but are set in a way that you can actually just pull this like rod with a wheel on the end of it out of a tube that is your track running the width of the boat, and you can set it into wheeling position or you get on the water and you can easily, while seated in the boat, pull them and set them into a
Flipped
paddling
up.
position. Yeah,
Hmm.
flip them up so the wheels are not in the water. Uh, Phenomenal, just life
Here's
changing, game changing thing.
not only are the wheels with you at all times, they're not in the boat when you're fishing. So they're
Not in
not
the way
taking up
ever.
space
Hmm.
in your storage compartment in the back, which is ginormous but very critical. So that is to me that was actually the thing that sold me because before I had to like put the wheels back where I wanted to like potentially keep things, especially on longer trips, camping trips, things like that. And that to me, that actually was probably the biggest thing. The other huge thing was having to pick the boat and put it all the way up sideways meant you had to like strap everything down,
Tip
lock down
it.
that
Yeah.
little pile of baits that was going in the water.
Yeah.
Any of the stuff that you forgot to like strap down, you have to tip the boat completely
Yeah.
vertical, like
Yeah.
totally pull it up in order to get the wheels in. Then you have to pull the boat on top of the wheels. It's just, it's
Even with
fine
there's like a bungee cord workaround, but even with that, you have to tip it up.
up.
So we're talking like you tip it to the side, you can shove them in, but it's not ideal if you have stuff mounted to the side of your boat or in your boat floating around.
Like
Or
rods.
bungee cord, you tip it up, so stuff still slide. Like my plastic bin would slide down and break every guide on every rod I had.
It's it's fine. It works. It is not that much.
Yeah,
The Hobie wheels are 150,
$180,
180 bucks. The Boondocks is 250.
250. Yeah,
So the
hey,
other, I will say this though, the one thing,
everybody's
and
problem is drilling a hole in the boat.
thank you. That is,
It's
and what,
kayak. It's a kayak. You drill
but
holes in
But
it.
one, people are not necessarily all, at the level where they've done this a bunch of times before and
Yeah.
have that kind of experience. The other thing too is it does
Fair.
void the warranty on your Hobie, which is a very good reason to not drill a hole in your
Excuse
in
me.
your Hobie.
It voids the hull warranty. And good luck breaking the hull on your Hobie.
I
You're
just
not going to do it.
I want to make sure I put it out there for people.
No, 100%. I agree with you on putting it out there. I disagree with people being afraid of it because your hull's not going to break on your Hobie. The hull is so freaking well made on a Hobie. It's insane. It is among the thickest hulls of plastic boats that I've ever seen. It's
It's
absurd.
but if you're concerned
Paul
about it,
used
that
to
would be one reason.
drag. You guys remember? Paul used to drag his predator around, and people got really mad about it, and they still get mad about it because I haven't taken that video down, and it never will because it's hilarious.
Dude,
But Paul used to tie a battle line to the front of his old town predator and drag it around, and it lasted for what, 4 years of you dragging that
dude,
around?
I sold that
Years.
kayak this year and I
Yep.
flipped it over and showed the guy, dude, there's like 4 scratches.
Yeah.
Dude, it
And
whatever, not important.
the Hobie is thicker than that.
All I'm saying is
I'll put it here.
the wheels are great. I do highly recommend that everyone gets them, but that is
Yeah.
something to consider. So
The,
that's the Boondocks landing gear. That is it rock solid.
hands down, one of the most important things on my boat.
Mhm.
Hands down. The next most important thing on my boat, people also disagree on. There's a few good options here, but
There are a lot.
We have the Hobie. No, there's a few good options. There's a lot of options. There's a few great options.
Sure.
We'll put it there. The Hobie H crate is behind us. Now the Hobie H crate works in more than just Hobies because it's like a standard size crate. I love it because it has H rail on it. So if you're in a Hobie, you get H rail accessories, or if you're not in a Hobie and you want H rail accessories, you can get them. But you,
There's probably two most used accessories on the Hobie H, maybe three
mhm,
on the H rail.
mhm. The
First,
bin.
the tackle storage bin. A lot of people put it back
Mhm.
there. I don't
Yeah.
like it there, but I totally get it.
Hmm.
I have my cup holder on mine,
Yep.
which is actually
Your
clutch.
spare cup
I
holder.
have two
So you have
cup
two.
holders, and that actually is it's well for
Huge.
20 $25, totally worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing is additional rod holders. A lot of people put
Yeah.
those on there. So those are
Four.
kind of your they're
Plus,
foot.
it
Well, there
comes
are
with
four
four, but you can
exactly
add more because it's
the
drillable
corners
and
the
they're already
corners
pre-drilled.
yeah, the corners of the H crate act as rod holders, and that's what I use, and that's more than
Hmm.
enough for me.
Yep.
But that's actually they're vertical, so that's actually where I keep most of my rods that I'm using. And then, like I said, I keep the four that I'm using the most in there, and then the other two, because I carry six rods right now,
Yep.
stay actually in the storage locker. But
Yeah.
the other,
But you
yeah,
could rig up like six, seven, eight, maybe nine additional rod holders if you're a tourney angler. Like you could have so many rods behind you. It's stupid. It's absurd. And then inside of that, you can actually hold, I think I've counted it, seven 3,700 size tackle
vertical.
boxes, vertical, or I lay them down because I actually have the what's the topper called? Like the little
The
zip up.
zipper,
Yeah,
waterproof.
basically they make a little canvas top that's zippable. So you could I only use this for one reason. If you were to tip, because I've felt like I was close to it once, whatever. Like it's gonna keep them semi-dry. It's not about being waterproof for me. It's just about like, oh, we're in rough waters. Zip. Now I don't have to worry about my tackle ever coming out. That's the
Hmm.
only reason I have it. Or if I'm traveling, and I left it back there, I keep it zipped. Paul leaves all his stuff everywhere, and we're not going to talk about that on this episode.
But we should. So, anyways, I have what I keep back there is one Plano that has a ton of hard baits, and then I
I
have
keep all of my Planos back there.
yeah,
Everybody knows that though. I have too
yeah,
much tackle.
I
Oh,
have
be mad about it.
I have one cooler, a small cooler, and this is my thing where I'm like, if you're gonna
Clutch.
splurge, it's worth splurging to get a high quality cooler that fits back here somewhere because dude, dehydration is a killer if you fish more than 6 hours. We fish consistently to the 8, 10 hour mark, and I can easily in this cooler keep two Gatorades, a big 1 liter frozen bottle of ice, which is what I use for that. I keep two Cliff bars, the high protein
Yep.
builder bars. I
Just
keep
energy, man.
usually a sandwich of
Hmm.
some kind, sometimes pizza, sometimes just like pasta or whatever I had for dinner the previous day. And then I almost always have a bag of meat sticks and then a bag of trail mix. And that all
Hmm.
fits in there very conveniently, sometimes even an energy drink. So like that is a game changer. It is legit. That's a if you're gonna spend
Yeah.
money on something that you want to depend on, I am an advocate of doing that.
Yeah, 100%. The H crate's legit. We also mount our bump board to it. So we both have a very similar bump board.
Hog trough.
They don't float, FYI. I found that out. But I saved mine. I lost mine in the water one time and I had to retrieve it in a river. It was hilarious.
Ugh.
But I keep I have a Yak Attack leverage net, which I absolutely love. You have a different net, which is also fantastic. But I love my net because it's a folding net and it has the little like forearm holder so I
Mhm.
can like grab it. It takes up less space. It's not as tall. Yours is a pretty short net too, though. But I grab it, flip it out, catch that pike, bring it in, no problems. And it's got the oval shape, so I can actually tip it over the H rail and I put my foot on one side of it, so I don't have to worry about it going out.
Yep.
But that usually lives in one of the rod holders. So I usually have three rods back there, two up front I'm fishing, one that's like in the tube that it's usually my medium heavy spinning rod that I don't use as much, or that bait casting rod that shall not be named that I don't like as much either. but there's one of those in there. But yeah, like the H crate for me carries a very large portion of stuff that's in my boat.
Oh, it does triple duty.
Yeah.
My net is in the molded in rod holder. I use an
Yep.
18-inch handle straight net. It's like
It's like
15.
floating too, right?
No, it
No.
would float for way long. I mean, a good 30
Enough time to
seconds.
be
You would
like,
not,
I
you'd
dropped my
grab it.
net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need to deal with that though, because what I did was I have a very long piece of like a 3 foot piece of
I think tied it to.
elastic, and
Yeah.
I actually just put a carabiner on one side and tied it to the handle of the other side, and so it can fall over. It doesn't matter. And
Mine is
that's
loose. I might
yeah.
lose it one day.
I will never lose mine. But it's a $20 net. It's not inexpensive, but it
Right.
does have the rubber mesh. It's like a Cabela's brand. But it's nice. It fits right in the rod holder, and I've never had a problem. It never comes out. And
Big.
big tip,
Yeah.
if you're a right-handed individual and you work fish with your right hand and you're reeling with your left in most situations,
Hmm.
um, your net should be on the left-hand side of your
Left.
boat so that when you go to
Huge.
grab it, you're not you keep your on your dominant hand you have the rod and your
Yeah.
non-dominant hand you have your net. I had mine on the opposite. I don't know why. I've been doing this for years and it's
Nightmare.
always been on the left, but I was like I did it 2 times. I reached for the net. I was like, whoa, ready to blow up my boat. So I
Yeah.
had to actually that was one of my big things. I fished the boat essentially naked for over a month before I
Yeah.
made any changes.
All the
And that
changes
was
actually.
yeah, and that was a huge, that was one of the biggest things that I changed. So
Dude, side note on that H crate though, it does have rod keepers, little bungee cords that come in it.
that hold
Stock.
things in the rod holder.
Stock. Like
Hmm.
you got to add that on separately for other crates. So that was the big plus for me.
It
And people
also was
will say,
designed to fit right behind the seat, and it's designed to be tied down. It comes with
yeah,
clips that actually tie it down to the
that's
boat.
huge
So
too. Yeah,
that
it's
actually is a
buckled
pretty
down.
big deal.
So
Yeah,
because yeah, I mentioned mine zipped in, it's also like carabiner down
those
to
4 straps.
yeah, like molded little holders to it. So it's not going anywhere. But in addition to that, the like I forgot what I was gonna say.
The
What?
the the H crate is kind of a must-have accessory. I would agree.
Oh, all right, so the other crates that are on the market that are like rivaling this is what I was gonna say. A lot of people say the wilderness systems, pretty sweet. A
Yep.
lot of people say I think it's the Yak Pack black
The
box.
black box. Yep.
I will say the black box is better in terms of
Got a
mountable
lid.
hardware and the lid pre-built. So yes, and it's also I think it's slightly less expensive by maybe $10. But
Hmm.
like it's got the lid in it. You have to buy that separate on the Hobie. That said, I was sold on pre-built rod keepers. The modulation of it. There's so many more options that you can add to it. The H rail, like I'm sorry, I just can't be
I
swayed.
really like mine. It's a no-brainer for the price. If you're going to spend that much, I have no problem doing it. And
Yeah.
I've been super super happy. You can do a crate. You can do a custom crate. You
Oh, you
can
can
do a
do a twenty
billion
dollar
things.
crate.
There's no right or wrong answer. It's
Yeah.
really what you like the most. I
Yep.
will say the cooler that fits in it, and I can still stack at least 2 to 3 Planos in there, no problem. I
Yep.
actually do. That's where I keep my empty water bottles back there.
Yep.
And then having the 4 rod holders already built in with the retainers is sweet. It's bolted down. So actually, I only have one other thing in my boat. That's my battery. And then
Hmm.
I keep a flag on the back.
Yeah.
The
So
the back. Yeah.
we have the same battery,
Hmm.
right? So at
That's
the
DC
back,
power. Yeah.
yep, at the back of the boat on the Hobies, and actually on a lot of boats, most boats, like
Yeah.
definitely,
The majority.
yeah, most boats. We'll just say the majority. You have a back hatch. In the case of the Hobie, it's 8 inches. Sometimes it's 6. Sometimes a little different. But the 8-inch hatch at the back is in the Hobies, especially the pro angler, especially the newer ones, essentially useless because we have a skeg. So if you guys don't know what a skeg like, a lot of like
Fixed
pedal
rod.
kayaks, higher end kayaks, you have a rudder, but then you also may have a skeg, which is like a bigger, fatter rudder that runs more outwards, right, rather than downwards. And that's more just to keep you running true. So if you want, I mean, for the most part, like a Hobie or a pontoon hull type kayak is going to run pretty true. That said, wind will do whatever the heck it wants to you. A skeg will be that life-changing thing for you on rivers and in the
Tracking.
wind and
Yeah.
current. It's going to keep you tracking pretty good. Huge. But that said, it has a molded skeg holder that pulls it up flush with the boat so that you can like roll your boat up on shore and not damage it or run over things, right? Which unfortunately cuts into that 8-inch back hatch. That said, we hooked up with the Burly Pro. It's called the Batarang, which is a little drop-in piece that allows you to mount a battery to it. I actually have it right here because it's charging.
2 batteries, actually.
You can mount 2 if you get the double, but this is the Burly Pro. Is that upside down? Oh, it's upside down. Good job. It's the Burly Pro Batarang because it looks like Batarang, Batman. All right. Anyways, so there's that, and then you can hold 1 battery here. You can put 1 battery here, and you can have 2. We went with the FPV Powers. This is the 12 volt, 7 amp. I've had some issues with mine. I think it was charger based, but yeah, Paul's had 0 issues. So it could be just my battery. I've sent it in for the warranty. The guys were great at Mariner Sales. So thank you, Mariner Sales. You guys are awesome. They hooked me up, fixed it. It did start flickering this trip again. So I've recharged it recently. We're going to test it again, see what happens. But you can hang a battery back there. You can do this with also, I think Nakwa. Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah, Uncle.
A few other brands.
They have their own version of the Burly Pro Batarang. But yeah, I mean that's front to back. The one thing I will say,
that's the boat.
One thing I like about my setup is when I'm pulling in and putting out, all I have to do, like if I'm in the water and I'm getting out, I put my wheels down, or once I get onto shore, I put my wheels down, and now I'm capable of like just walking my boat out. Yep. When I walk my boat up to my truck, I have like a bed extender. I lift the front of the kayak onto the bed extender. I walk to the back of the boat. Well, yeah. So before I push the boat into the back of the truck, I just take off my life vest and I put it in the front hatch because there's still a ton of space in there. So that's where I keep that. Put my cell phone in my pocket. I grab my waterproof bag that has all the stuff that I normally carry with me, like keys and phone, and then I take my net out and I lay it down inside the floor of the hull, and I take my hog trough, my fish measuring thing, and I lay that underneath the net. That is it.
Done.
Like, oh no, then I put the flag on the rear of the boat.
Right.
And then I pick the back up and I shove it in my truck. I flip my anchor into the back of the boat, strap it down, and then I leave. Like that is all of the, like with that
not
setup,
much to do.
I do not do anything else. It takes at the most 3 minutes to like go from arriving at my vehicle to like starting my car to get ready to go. Everything else, I've never like lost anything, never had a problem like with things like vibrating and coming loose. I've never like nothing. It is you can take your battery out if you choose. You can put a cover. I put a cover on my screen sometimes. But I have a truck cap. So like
big difference.
At least half my boat is covered. But that also cuts down on like a crap ton of wind that's hitting the top of my kayak as well. I'm sure you could sit back there and remain undisturbed, but even without it, Jeff does not have a truck cap, and I don't think you do much more than I do.
No, I mean, like, yeah, I take my stuff out, but it's not a lot of work. Like, I have a big Bass Pro Shops tackle bag that holds all 8 or 9 of my 3,700 size tackle boxes. So I just pull the bag back, throw it in there, throw my drive in the back of my truck. I might throw the net and the hog trough in there. That's about it.
Like, yeah, it's the rods being laid down is great.
The rods are in the rod tube, so like you don't have to do anything with that. It's pretty clutch, pretty easy. So I mean, a lot of people ask me like, why would you invest into the Hobie Pro Angler? Like, why wouldn't you just buy a John boat, a bass boat at that point? Because you're investing a lot of money. I mean, to be fair, yeah, it's a very expensive kayak. Like, it ain't cheap. We have our main reasons for it. Maybe that's a whole podcast in and of itself, right? That's a whole nother episode. But at the end of the day, I've said it a few times on this episode, a Hobie Pro Angler is like a personal bass boat. It's like a bass boat for one, but it's also a bass boat that takes far less maintenance. I'm never worried about it drifting away, as I've seen it happen to multiple YouTubers recently. Like just the way I set it up, no big deal. And it holds literally everything I need. Like it is the most
More than what you need,
absurdly,
for sure.
well, absolutely more than you guys have seen me fish. Like, it's more than what I need. But like it's just absurdly convenient.
For
It's
a
what we
person,
call
for a
subtly
person,
aggressive.
subtly aggressive. For a person powered kayak,
Yeah.
it is ready to rig. I
And
mean,
we fished it 16 hours that day, and
it's
we
an un
had this many issues.
no,
Zero.
it
In
is
20-mile-an-hour winds.
for a person powered kayak. It is definitely overkill, but it's got a nice balance of being preset,
Yep.
but also customizable. So
Yep.
the H-Rail does that in a really big way. The and then like the thought that went into all the features, like
Absurd.
the seat alone, to be honest, is a difference maker. So between the drive and the seat, it's really hard to argue that there's a better boat out there. Now, there are different boats out there that do different things. So like the Sportsman line is, in my opinion, the closest thing. If you want the trolling motor on the front, it's a no-brainer. If you want a boat that's inexpensive that you can mount a torpedo to or something like that, there's another argument to be made that like a new canoe or an Old
Oh yeah.
Town Predator or a lot of these other, there's a lot of other there's tons of other, I mean, lots and lots and lots of great kayaks out there.
Hmm.
There's just something about the Hobie that like it is truly like it's such a clean concept. Yes, you're paying for a lot more than just the boat. You're paying for the Hobie brand, absolutely. Um, it's hard to argue with just like the concept of simplicity of what they've come up with. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's absolutely absurd. And we've not made this episode to be purely a Hobie Pro Angler commercial, but it seems to be that way. That said, you can take a lot of lessons from this episode, as we have from other episodes, other videos that we've watched on kayak rigging. We've actually done a rigging episode that was not quite dissimilar to this, a little bit different, in our approach to it, and honestly, earlier on in our setups of our boats. So
Mhm.
I think it was more generalized too. So this is definitely more specific to how we set up our boats. That said, you could do this for any boat. There are many boats of the size that we have that are out there. There's like the Titan, right? So you got what is that?
There's a ton
What?
of 14 boats. There's the Prescator. There's
Yeah,
tons of 14 footers out there.
tons of boats that are, sit on top, stand ups,
12
sit
to
in
14 foot
sides.
range. Yeah.
12 to 14-foot range, you could rig very, very similar. So I think this applies to a lot of those out there. If you guys are on the market for a kayak, you're looking for something that would fit your needs, something that you could set up in this way, you can probably take a lot away from this episode. If you're looking for a pro angler, well, you can just straight copy our setup, which we've also made videos on. So just do it. That's what I did. Like, just took like this and that and this and that and like Frankensteined it into something that worked for me. And this is what I highly recommend if you guys are looking to do a similar thing. Have your own boat, personalize it.
Is there anything that's not in your boat that will be in your boat at some point?
Yeah, well, yeah, I need the H-rail mount for my anchor wizard is an absolute necessity based on seeing yours and being super jealous. And then also we just talked about like the little bin that would hold all your junk. We're gonna reverse engineer that one, figure it out. I'm probably gonna like do some junk stationery from like Myers, and then you're gonna like invent $1 million idea and we'll see what happens. But I mean, honestly, that's about it. I'm very happy with my kayak setup right now. Even after talking to like Christine Fisher, watching, her videos, watching other people's videos, people, like looking at Mike Ketchkowski, looking at even taken away from like Craig Hefner with his Old Town setups, like I'm really happy with the way mine is set up. The only thing I've ever debated about it that would be extremely expensive as far as an upgrade and something that I might switch the power pole for would be like a Torpedo or a Bixby little
Mhm.
motor on the back. And I mean, you could mount a freaking trolling motor to it. I know, like, for example, if you guys watch like Fluke Master, he's mounted I think it was like a 55 2 to 5 pound throws.
People do it all the time.
Well, he mounted it to a bona fide, which is like somewhat as sturdy, I believe, as far as what I've seen. Yeah, very sturdy kayak.
Super good kayak.
Different setup. I don't know if they have a pedal version. Definitely paddle. Great kayak.
I don't
Something.
think
If
they
I
do.
had another paddle, if I had a paddle kayak that would replace my $100 mainstream, red, white, and blue, which I don't think anything can replace. It might be that. Like I would do like a sit on top paddle kayak, which would be like purely river trips, throw a drag anchor on there. Pretty sweet kayak, you know? But yeah, I mean, the only other thing we could potentially do on ours at this point would be a motor.
Oof.
Like
Hard disagree.
if you just
I
want to
have,
go around a lot.
so I have a few things that I want to do to mine.
Oh, Paul's got a list.
I got a list, yo. It's long term.
Yeah.
Um, First and foremost, I do want to get a cell phone holder
Okay. The
for
ramp
the
mount.
very front, yeah, of the H
Yeah,
rail.
yeah, yeah.
I really want to. I do need to get another rod holder for the other
Hmm.
side for either forward facing or trolling. I do want to get. I need to. There's two things that will rely on battery that I want to do. One, I want to do deck lighting for night
Hmm.
fishing.
Oh yeah,
Two,
yeah.
two, I want to do modular lighting for duck hunting. So I
On
want
the front.
one light in the front,
Yeah.
big LED light in the front, but I want it to be modular so I can move it. And when I want to do some bow fishing out of the boat, so I
Hmm.
want to put it on an H rail universal mounting plate and be able to put it on either side of the boat.
Good call.
That. So I have those are the things that I still really want to do to the boat at some point.
Yeah.
And then when I do the lighting, I'm gonna use a lighting control unit. Yak Attack makes one. I think it's $90.
Yeah.
It has 5 channels, and you can turn things on and off all from like a little circular button control unit that
Yak
mounts like
power.
Yak Power. Thank you.
Yak power.
That's what I'm going to be using to not only
Yes.
control my fish finder, but also the lights that are module, and then the deck lighting, and then
Maybe a
likely
charger.
whatever's going to charge my GoPro
Yep.
and
Yep.
then
That's a good
potentially a
call.
phone charger that I'm gonna wire right to the inside of that drop-in bin
Yep.
at my feet
That's fair. There's probably a lot of electrical we could do to it.
at some point. So
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
those are kind of like future things. I need to fish in the boat a lot more before I'm like ready to make all of
It's
that.
definitely a next year, if
Oh yeah,
not
if
later,
not the year
investment.
after. Yeah, but those would be like hyper custom, and I also want to get the there's a camo blind cover that fits like a
Oh yeah.
Hobie Pro Angler for duck hunting. That is an absolute must. It's like
Yep.
200 bucks.
Well, we'll get there. All right, guys. So that's all we got for you today. We've covered a heck ton of things as far as what can go into your boat. We are look at this episode as definitely the overkill, all the things you could put on your boat kind of episode, and then downsize it to fit your needs. Like that's all we're saying. We're not saying you need all these things. We're saying that these are the things that we have that make our time on the water more enjoyable, more convenient. That's why we invested the money into what we have. That's at the end of the day, that's what it is. Like you want your time on the water to be the least amount of frustration that you have. It should be like your escape to enjoy the great outdoors, and that's what we've done. That's what our rigs are. Like we fished 16 hours that day, and we went out right away the next day and fished again for like 4 or 5 hours,
Mm.
and I had no problem with it. I was comfortable, everything I needed. We didn't even like take anything out the night after the night fishing. That didn't happen. But we did go out at night for like 3, 4 hours. But we wheeled the boats up, pulled them into camp, lit a fire. They just sat there. We wheeled them right back out the next day, already rigged, and just fished again. Like it was just so convenient and simple. Like I can't see another way of doing it anymore. Like Christine Fisher said, basically, I'm broken now, and this is all I can ever do. That's it. So yeah, if you guys got any other thoughts, comments, concerns, questions,
What
hit
should
us
be in
up.
our boat that's not already?
Oh
What
yeah.
should come out of our boat that is in the boat?
Oh, that is a great point. If you think there are things in our boats that suck and are dumb and should not be in there, tell us that. If you think there are things that are not in our boats that should be in our boats, tell us that. But hit us up in the comments on YouTube, drop us a comment, maybe a 5-star review. We appreciate that a lot. It makes a huge difference for the show on the podcast. And thank you so much for listening. You guys can find us on YouTube, Burly Fishing Channel, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, Burly Fishing. You can also find Paul on Instagram at Paul_J_glass. Dude, I'm crushing that now. I'm just saying. But other than that, guys, we'll see you out on the water.